Hello and welcome back. Today I'm looking at a recently completed project. This particular site had quite a few issues. Uh, Primarily pooling in the middle of the garden was a big one after it rained, and also this garden was broken up into a bunch of very unusable little spaces that were not doing anything. The new homeowner wanted to correct these problems, address the dampness, address the drainage issues, and basically redesign the garden and make it a lot more functional. They downscaled from a very mature garden from a home where they lived, and they wanted something that would be comfortable to use but also very lush. First things first, we had to address the drainage situation, and putting in a dry well was at the top of our list. A giant 4 by 4 by 4 foot hole was dug, filled with gravel, and that would take the surface water off and immediately put it below ground where it could slowly percolate away. We produced a very simple design for this backyard. The moment you come out of the house, you're greeted with a large, comfortable, smooth patio where most of the entertaining would be done. Then this gentle, meandering, curved path will take you to the back where there will be a pergola built in phase 2 of the installation in this project. The curved, meandering path was sharpened up instead of smoothed out, but sharpened up with sort of this jagged yin-yang layout of the stones. The purpose of this exercise was to allow plants to create the effect of invading the walkway. And the reason for this design is instead of having the feeling of walking along the pathway with the garden to the left and to the right, I was looking for an effect of walking through the middle of a very lush, very dense garden. So it's the pathway cutting through the garden, not the other way around. The client made it very clear from the beginning of the project that she wanted to keep the trees and some of the older, more established vines in the garden. So to deal with that, we created these open, small flower beds, allowing all the plant materials that had to stay on site to thrive and adjust to the new level of the job. This particular garden would be considered a deep shade garden, but still there were no shortage of plants that would thrive in these conditions. I chose plant materials that has more of a woodsy feel close to the trees, and the further away from the trees you get, the more grassy of a feel it has. And I've chosen the grasses that are somewhat invasive, hoping that they will completely occupy the little cutouts in the stones that we designed for them. Way to deal with the slope, which at the beginning of the project was towards the house and we needed to reverse that, was to raise the entire project by at least 6 to 8 inches. So to that end, we built an extra step to the basement entrance. We raised the patio, which allowed us to slope everything away from the house. But we still had to add a very specific drainage system in the middle of the garden. As you can see, the linear drain picks up all the water from the patio and takes it away. Part of it goes into a dry well, the other end of it is connected to the drainage system inside the house that goes to the leader on the street. There are 3 mature trees on this project and they had to stay. The client wanted to keep them, but they were in pretty bad shape. They were not pruned properly in the beginning of their lives, and they were left with this very unusual structure, let's just say. To deal with that, we placed pots filled with annuals, and in springtime they will be filled with flowering bulbs, and that kind of raises your eye and gives you yet another focal point of interest, not just on the ground but on the eye level. So each tree got its own little arrangement in the very shallow pots, and we connected the irrigation system so that gets watered automatically so the client can travel and still come back to a lush garden. And that's our project. This was completed maybe less than a year ago. This video was taken only a few short days after installation, so it will take some time for the perennials to fill in. But here we are. Thank you for watching.